Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Once again, my name is Daphne St. Clair Ferguson, and I am so excited to have the creative team of the Twin Sues here with me today. All right, so it's been a minute. We've seen each other. It's been what, a year? I feel like
Roughly.
Since our last interview. Wow. So talk to me a little bit about how you've come as an artist from Pigeon to now Twin Sues. What's that been like?
Would you like to talk? Me?
Start, yeah.
Sure. It's been a very creative but difficult process, Pigeon being our first show that we independently produced ourselves was really big for us. And it only made us want to, keep growing more and more and start challenging ourselves more, which ended up, making us decide that we wanted to do our most ambitious show yet with the Twin Sues. Whole new set, bringing in people we haven't worked with before, getting ourselves out of our comfort zone. And for me specifically, stepping back from acting and solely focusing on directing has been a wonderful thing for me and hopefully the company as well. Yeah.
Wonderful. And I realize we have someone new with us today from sorry, can you just hi, I'm Katelyn Doyle, and I'm performing in the Twin Sues as Sue Jackson. Wonderful. Woo-hoo. Now, I realize I didn't even introduce the two of you. We've got a stranger here getting introduced before the two of you. So give it a whirl.
My name's Tipelo Hildebrand. I'm one of the actors. I'm Sue Johnson. And I also do director of marketing, communications, everything, Instagram, blah, 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 for Bird on Stage.
Hi, my name's Robert Leitner. I'm currently the director for the Twin Sues, but I also double as artistic producer for Bird on Stage Productions as well.
Wonderful. Now, talk to me a little bit about the Twin Sues. Why is a Cold War satire so relevant to today? What is going on between Canada and the United States that we need to talk about?
Take that over. As someone who was born in the U.S. and ended up moving to Canada about 12 years ago now, I think I'm hopefully pretty qualified to be able to kind of understand a little bit both sides of this unfortunate conflict going on. The reason why we wanted to bring Twin Sues to light now is mostly because of how we feel the world is going and the direction that it's going in. Especially working with a Canadian playwright and then technically having an American director, I feel like we are able to explore both sides without villainizing anyone. And I think that's an important factor. Another thing that we're trying to push with this is the way that radicalization can happen to you and how easily it can happen, something that I think is happening, unfortunately, a lot in this world right now. The story is about America-Canadian conflict and a hypothetical war, but the show is really about two friends and the way that the external factors can really influence a friendship. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add.
Yeah, no, I mean, you pretty much said it all, but I think it's also something really powerful about it being two women specifically within this American-Canadian conflict. It really plays on just their bond and friendship and womanhood as two individuals who I feel are also kind of forced to grow up in this very male-centric universe because of their dads being their only figure in their life and kind of having to adapt and become the strong male figure for their household as a woman. So I think there's just a lot of really fun themes and a lot of really powerful moments that really, I don't know, it's just quite a special piece in my heart.
And the Twin Sues, who are they? I mean, you two don't even look alike. So talk to me a bit about that. What does that mean?
Well, so twins. So I mean, we are identical. What do you mean?
Sorry, it's hard to tell. These glasses, I guess, description.
Yeah. So it's yeah. I mean, we're best friends. And I sisters, but from different worlds, but basically from the exact same world also at the same time. And yeah, as I said, it's just so, I don't know, I think women relationships as best friends and sisters and are such a powerful friendship. Like some of like my female friends, like I will transcend time and space, and I feel like it's quite special to have that shown on stage as well.
Yeah. As well, because I've realized a lot less people know about Sault Ste. Marie than I thought they did. So the Twin Saults is a play on words about the twin Sault Ste. Maries, one in Ontario and the other in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Playing on the two words that there are the Twin Saults from the Twin Saults. So we have two characters, Sue Jackson and Sue Johnson, one from Ontario, one from Michigan, and they are both border crossing guards. So that's where the play starts.
And it's also like really fun because like Garrett, who is our playwright and artistic director, he currently lives in Sault Ste. Marie. So the play plays on a lot of like Canadian like tropes and American stereotypes and tropes and just like kind of like the banter between the two characters. And it's really quite satirical and fun.
Now, and I know Garrett's not here to speak for himself, but I'd be curious, your thoughts, like what is the inspiration for this play beyond the Twin Saults? Obviously, this is that's a large anchor of the show, but I'm curious, I saw on your Instagram the picture from the Doctor Strangelove, which is quite exciting. Talk to me a bit about that.
For sure. I will speak on behalf of Garrett. Sorry, Garrett, if I do this bad. But I think a part of the process that came to this was it started off actually as an old script of Garrett's that ended up just being written, and we never, as a company, never really found a time to be able to produce it. And with just the conflicts and tension rising between the two countries, only got worsened. I think he got inspired to kind of revisit that piece that ended up turning into the Twin Saults. Originally, the idea was a play about a modern day FLQ crisis that then got inspired and changed and turned into the Twin Saults. Still follows that kind of very similar satirical political nature to it, but I think this version lives a lot closer to comedy and trying to bring people in rather than alienate people. Something that Garrett and I have spoken a lot about during this process is finding ways to not villainize either side, because while the show can maybe lend you to go one way versus the other, the truth of the matter is that these are two people that, if this never happened, would still be best friends, would still be able to grow up, grow old together, and be able to live those lives together.
Beautifully put. I love that. I feel like Garrett's here with us, even though he's not. He's in the air or something. Yeah, I know, but I think soon. I think I see it. I think I see it happening. Okay, so we talked a lot last year about what Canadian theater is and what Canadian theater means to you. But what is Sault theater? What is Sault Ste. Marie theater? How maybe is this different from something you'd be seeing if it was set in Toronto? What changes when we put it in the Sault?
Sure. Yeah, sure. It's a very interesting question. I think for me, something that us as a company has always wanted to explore, and I think it's pretty prevalent within a lot of our shows, is that while we try to work on Canadiana, something that we are heavily inspired by is very Northern Ontarian work. So if we're asking what Sault theater is, I would say it is very Northern. It's very rooted in community. A lot of comedy, trying to mask the sadness that is going on, almost like if Schitt's Creek meets Doctor Strangelove, mixed with splashes of Letterkenny and Shoresy in there. It's quick, it's fun, it's sad, it brings you to tears, and it'll bring you to laughter. Hopefully at some point you'll maybe want to throw up too, who knows. That's what we try to emulate with these things. Another thing as well that we really like to focus on when focusing on this Sault theater is that, speaking for myself here, growing up in Miami, Florida, I didn't have seasons. So always hot. But moving up here, one of the things that I had the hardest time adjusting to was actually dealing with seasons, and the change of time and the change of weather and the way that inspires you and moves you forward. So I would say as well, the play almost reaches, it takes place over the course of maybe 2-3 months, but I would say it all seasons get met throughout the piece, and that's something I think we like to do with this theater as well.
Yeah, and just to add something small, honestly, I think it's quite special, like, seeing plays out there that target specific smaller communities and, like, places like Sault Ste. Marie that maybe don't have, like, a ton of theaters, like, plays about them, like how, like, there's going to be a lot about, like, Toronto, because it's, like, the big spot and, like, everybody knows about, but it's really fun to, like, have more specific site-specific plays, and I think that really, like, brings in a new community aspect to all of it.
And speaking of, I'm curious how you think we can bring the Toronto community into the Soo. You know, I feel like so many people from smaller communities go to Toronto to see shows. How are we getting our communities in Toronto to come to the Soo? What is that like? How do we change that energy to smaller towns, do you think? If you have any ideas.
I mean, I think a part of it is, you know, bridging that gap through those communities, you know, coming from the north down south to come to Toronto to try and build this career. It was really hard to get in, and I think there needs to be a push for more community, more accepting nature towards it, as well as maybe not having it be so aggressive in nature. You know, I feel like Toronto is very similar to, like, the LA vibe of audition and send, and something we've tried to do, not because, you know, we're better, but it's because, you know, we're trying to build towards, hopefully, you know, creating a more, you know, accepting and open community. We like to have people that we haven't met yet. We try to keep an open door policy for our company, and, you know, now that we are both based in Toronto and the Soo, hopefully we can be a part of that community, you know, bridging those gaps further as well.
I also think, like, I think Garrett would agree with me on this, that the North is doing some amazing work, and it's I feel like when, like, speaking for myself, when I'm in, like, Toronto, I gotta get, like, shielded from anything that isn't, like, happening specifically in Toronto or, like, etc. But take a look at what they're doing, like, in the North, because they're quite powerful and they're creating some amazing stuff out there.
All right, so get your butt to the north, okay? There's some good stuff out there. Come on. We've said community, I think, 1,000 times, which is, it's every single one of my interviews is, oh, it's community, it's community. But what does community mean to you, specifically?
Yeah, I mean, it's like just another way of saying, like, family, I think, is a great way to put it for, like, myself personally. It's just a bigger family, and I think the theater scene in Toronto has a very tight-knit community, and I think we need to start, like, branching out and bringing other, like, places within Canada into our scene, to broaden our community, because the more voices and the more people and the more everything we have there, the better and stronger it will get.
Ditto. Something for me as well is, personally, when I moved up here, I didn't have many people, family-wise, that I was able to attach myself to, and it actually was because I got forced into a production of Pippin. With 2 weeks left to go as an ensemble member, that I kind of got thrusted into the theater scene, but those people in that show are still with me, you know, today, and people in my life. And if it wasn't for that, I don't know if I'd still be in Canada exploring theater. So when I talk about community, I talk about, really, it's about just having open arms and willing to accept people that maybe aren't your average theater person, or that have done any kind of theater before, but, you know, letting it be open and wanting to bring more people in and keeping it as accessible as possible.
And how is community reflected within the story of the Twin Saults? Where does that lie?
I mean, God, that's a very big question. I think it's the whole yeah, and you'll find out. But yeah, I think the whole everything of it is all community. Like, there's the different communities that they each have. Each Sioux has, like, their own, like, Canadian community, and then their American community, and then they together as the Twin Saults, they are their own community, and it's just, it's just how they navigate all these different sectors that influence their life heavily, and how that friendship maintains or doesn't. Because, and that's what I mean, like, I think we need to broaden our communities, because if they did, I feel like they would be much happier individuals, the Twin Saus, if they connected all of their communities together instead of feeling the pressures from either to conform to each other's communities.
I think for me, when you talk about community within the show, everything you said, but I also think that there is a push from these characters to want community. And I think a part of this show is almost the lack of community that is driving them to these places. And it's almost for lack of better words, like a cry for help. Wanting, just wanting to feel special and to feel wanted and loved again. And these are things these characters are lacking within the show. So I think a huge part of the conflict is honestly trying to build that community with the community that maybe doesn't want you. So that's always been something that
Katelyn, I feel like Katelyn would have some
she's
insight.
being pretty
Pretty
quiet.
quiet over there.
Yeah.
Great words.
Wordsmith over there. Come on. Love it. Now, what the heck is a house hippo, and where does this fit into the landscape of Canadian theater? I'm seeing these posts about it. Tell me a bit about that.
You want me?
do,
Okay.
The Americans
Yeah.
talking about the house hippo.
Yeah, we let the American talk about it. I, as an American growing up, it was quite funny hearing, because I had family that lived in Canada for a while, and I'd always hear stories about different stereotypes. Like something I always heard growing up is about how apologetic Canadians are and all these things. But one of the things that I was always told about growing up that I actually believed was true was the house hippo. I was convinced that there were many hippos hiding in closets in Canada. I remember the first time I came to visit, I actually spent like 3 hours searching around my cousin's house, looking for a little house hippo. And obviously I didn't find anything, but I still believe to this day. But more specific to the show, I think it's what we're trying to do is play on these stereotypes that nostalgia stereotypes, these things that get put onto us both as American and Canadians. I also a part of it is the propaganda machine. A lot of what happens in political satires is those very over-the-top propaganda posters, and I think with this, it is another one of those, pushing those propaganda things, these house hippos and all that stuff that come up a lot throughout the play. House hippos are obviously a very mainstream, widely known version of it, but there's a lot of other ones in the show that pop up as well.
Now, and is theater propaganda?
Like,
I think inherently.
I
think inherently it is.
I think like all forms of media inherently are some form of like propaganda. I don't know if propaganda is the right word, because that's a little bit, I think, harsh and has a lot of connotations towards it. But they definitely all portray a message that they want people to hear. And that's kind of also what propaganda does as well.
I for sure, I think art is inherently political. And inherently does try to influence people's biases and change their opinions on things. So yeah, for sure. I think this show is, I think most shows are, even shows without meaning, quote unquote, are shows that are politically driven in whatever way, right? I think when people talk about politics, they instantly go towards government and stuff, but politics is still pretty broad in the term. So, art is inherently political. It is inherently trying to create messages that will influence the masses, for lack of better words. But yeah.
Yeah, also to add, I also think we're trying to like have some fun with that, with our like advertising and our like social media for this show, with our like posts and stuff like that, because I think it's just like fun to play on that idea of like propaganda and like also advertising your own show that is a political piece. So so I think we're having a lot of fun with that, and we've definitely learned a lot from the last show we did, and we're really trying to apply all of that to this show, and it's been quite another learning process that's really fun.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear about this marketing, these videos you're doing. Now they're not your standard come see the show. They're fun TikTok trends and things like that. How has the marketing scheme of how you market a show changed, even from last year, from Pigeon? And is it good? Is it bad? What's working? What's not?
It's funny. It's I feel like every single time you post something, whatever that may be, you always get a different result of what you think is going to be the result of a post. Like whether that's like, oh, like I think this will be really good, and then it's like doesn't hit as far home as we thought it would, or I think this won't do as good, but we're just posting it because we like it, and then it does blow up. And I think that in any sort of like marketing for anything, like I think that's just always going to happen, because it's difficult to predict what the masses want to see. But yeah, it's definitely, we've been having a lot of fun with it. As much as I dread seeing myself dance in a TikTok, it is, from an outsider, if I were to watch it, that is kind of fun to watch. So yeah, we've just been playing around, having fun with it, and most importantly, just doing stuff that we think is funny and that we think is like engaging or fun or whatever. Because in my opinion, I think like if I like it, then that's what matters the most, because I want to enjoy the stuff that I'm putting out there.
Yeah, we spoke about before that a part of what ended up bringing us towards it, independently producing our own work, was this essence of not wanting to conform. And you know, for us as a company, I think it really is, we're doing what we want to do and the stuff we find fun. And yes, we could probably alter our marketing to be a lot more like buy tickets, but you know, we want to do it on our own terms, and that's something that we've always been really proud of and very inspired by. So you know, yeah. No.
And Katelyn's in a lot of our TikToks.
Yes, Katelyn is in a lot of our TikToks.
Yeah, no, I have seen you
making
dance.
a lot of
Talk to me
TikTok
a bit about
dances.
that.
I don't know. I don't have TikTok, so I feel like I'm like struggling to like keep up with the marketing of it, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah, the times have changed.
Oh, I love it. It really has changed the way we look at theater. I mean, theater is so online now. And I'm curious too. This year, I'm asking. I'm curious about where money is going. Speaking of buying tickets, you know, where is your money going?
That's a good question. Where is it going? God, money is always like the hardest part about doing anything when you're like an individually run company or individual artist or etc. You take this on.
Okay.
Let me think.
I mean, from a lot of what we do is putting money back into the company, but something that we've always tried to do is be able to pay our artists and designers and everything well enough that, you know, it's worth the time that they put into this. You know, there's been so many, not a diss, but there's a lot of shows that, you know, you put a lot of time into and the paycheck isn't super great, which, you know, this shouldn't be about the paycheck. But we are humans that need to live and have bills to pay and stuff. So something we've very much tried to do is always make sure that everyone involved is getting an equal share in it. And, you know, it's going back to the company. But I would say, like, even last year, I would say a lot of the return we made, most of it went back towards the actors involved. You know, that was something that we were very proud and happy to be able to do because they deserved it. And same with everyone involved this year. They deserve, you know, a good, something worth their time.
Yeah. I think that's also why, like, starting off doing a lot of our own work, we're focusing on like smaller cast size and stuff like that, is because we do want to, like, be able to like show that the artists that they're that are putting their they're valued and putting all this time and effort and long hours and like hours outside of rehearsal even to like do line work and et cetera, like that they are like valued and like we do see them and we do appreciate what they're doing because like as like artists like ourselves, because we've been in like actors in a lot of things, it is important to feel like I'm not just someone ticking a box for you needing me on a stage. And I think something that's really interesting about this year is that we're having this is like what we mean by most ambitious especially has to do with our set and like props and costumes and stuff like that this year. We're putting a lot more focus on that than we ever have before, because we have the ability to, and it's really exciting to see how we like manage the like finances within that and like create all these like Google Sheets and stuff, and that's like been a huge learning experience for us. And I'm huge shout out to Madeline, who is our like set and prop and costume designer. She has been so important in this entire process. She's really making this play come to life, and without her, I can't even imagine what this would look like, this world. As well as Bunya, who's the assistant prop and set, and they're both wonderful, and they've really put their heart and soul into this, and it's been amazing to see.
You read my mind, by the way. I was going to shout them out, so you read my mind. Go Madeline, go Bunya.
They're melding together into one and growing red hair. I'm really freaked out. Oh no, it's so wonderful to hear you as a young company that you're able to meld, keeping yourself sustainable and as well following your hearts with your passions. That's really wonderful to hear from the two of you. Now, I think those are all of my questions. So is there anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Go.
Okay. Come see the show. It's not one you want to miss. I think like this piece is so prevalent and so like even our last show, like, oh, come see all our shows, but like this one you have to see. It's really I think it's going to be a really important moment for people who see this show, and I don't want to give too much away, but it's quite a showstopper, and we've all put a lot of work. Katelyn's put an amazing amount of work into this. She's been a shooting star in this, and also a joy to work with. She deserves to be seen. The set deserves to be seen, and it's really going to be a powerful moment that you don't want to miss out on.
Ditto. I would say if you want to see a show that will pull you in and pull you out all at the same time, then the Twin Sues is the show for you. If you like friendship and hate to see friendship end, I think this is a show for you. If you like house hippos, I think this is a show for you. And if you like nostalgic moments, I think this is a show for you. Last thing I'd want to say is I just want to say a big thank you and shout out to the whole team. Tipelo, Katelyn, Madeline, Bunya, Garrett. The show isn't possible without any of them. So I just want to say a heartfelt thank you and congratulations to all them involved. Just thank you for your time. Thank you for your time as well.
Of course.
Super excited.
And you've killed it as a director as well, Robert, to add. You've killed it as well. So definitely see him in his director debut. Only director. I mean, he's assistant directed things, but Katelyn?
Final thoughts. Come see the show. This is this is unlike any show I've ever done before. I've had a blast working with the two of you. I think Garrett's gonna hop on a call today, so I'm like excited. I'm excited for him to see the work we've put in. I'm so glad he wrote this. I just it feels so special and so timely. I love new Canadian work, and this feels so of the time. In terms of identity and who we are, what we're supposed to be doing here. I just ditto to everything you guys have said, and come see the Twin Sues. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, folks. This was such a treat. I'm so happy we're able to revisit and interview again, and I can't wait for our future ones, too. I'm sure there's lots going on with Bird on stage, so I can't wait. And I cannot wait to see the Twin Sues in action. Be sure to check it out. We're running, the June 10th to 14th, so be sure to catch it. Assembly Theater. You're not going to want to miss this one. This is Daphne St. Clair signing off.